Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of LAist podcast. This is our 10th episode. I can't believe this podcast is going quick. Again, by the time if I make it to 100 episodes, if I could live to 100, hopefully my voice won't sound like, "Hi everyone, this is David Sarah. We're welcome to the 100 episode of LAist podcast." Wow. All right. Anywho, we're here inside LAist Radio, and in this beautiful college of KPCC College, on this beautiful Wednesday gay in LA, and I'm your host David Sarah. And before I introduce my guest, I want to make a exclusive announcement here on LAist podcast with my classmate Michelle Vega from my TV audio class. Michelle, you're officially my co-host, and congrats to you and welcome to the team, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
And now my next guest, she used to work for KPCC, and she also used to be a production coordinator for LAist. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest, Jens. Hopefully I get her name right. Jens Campbell. Jens, welcome to LAist podcast.
Hello, David. Hello, Michelle. Lovely. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. All right, so Jens, today I'm gonna ask you 10 questions.
Okay.
Are you ready for these questions?
All right, I'm in the hot seat. All right,
you're
I'm
in
ready.
The hot seat.
I'm ready.
Keeping it seat warm. All right. All right, question number one.
Uh-huh.
How you got your start in radio?
How did I get my start in radio? I actually started here at PCC, Pasadena City College. I went through the radio program here, obviously as a TVR student, television radio student, studying television and radio production. I actually started out, interestingly enough, interested in video editing. And then I realized, you know what, I don't like having to pay so much attention to the visuals.
Right.
But I'm really good at audio. I really enjoy working with audio as a medium. I'm pretty good at audio editing as well. So I was like, all right, let's go in this direction. So yeah, and I like talking on the mic. I'm pretty loquacious. So or so I've been told. So
You are.
Can't take me nowhere.
No, you can't. This podcast is already out to great start. I feel like we're doing the roast of Jens Campbell.
Thank you.
So, what is like your first memory here?
Here at PCC, oh my gosh. So way before I ever actually became a part of the TVR program here, this was the first school, the first college I went to right after high school. Mm-hmm. And the school looked a little bit different. The programs were a little bit different, but I remember really enjoying, the courses that had to do with like film and television. Like I'm a big like media person. So I really enjoyed that. And funny enough, now that I'm actually remembering, I was actually a part of a TVR production when I was like 18 or 19. I had a friend who was actually a camera operator, and she went on to do that professionally, but she needed talent. And I was in theater, so she asked me to come in and act in like this one act scene or whatever. So I'm like, oh, this is fun. Like, I like this. And, ooh, I get to be called talent. So, yeah, that was like my first, I guess, like major memory about PCC.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
By the way, I gotta say, I'm not sure if you watched that show on Skate. It's called Gengo Gangego Mucha Gangego Sawaga. And I'm not sure if it's still a show, but if you ever still doing a show, perhaps you could get like America's Got Talent.
No, I haven't watched too many of those shows, but yeah, you think I could be on America's Got Talent? Doing what?
Okay, let me see if you're watching my podcast. Make a call to Jens and put America's Got Talent. As long as she gets great review by
All
some
right.
account.
All right, cool. I don't know what I would do as a talent, I guess, but sure, why not?
Well, anything. All right, so
Hire me, why not?
Yeah, hire her. Let me see. Because I know you do America's Got Talent near PCC. Here at Pasadena. All right.
Uh-huh.
Now your second question, Jens.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide jump into radio?
Why radio specifically? So like a lot of people who go into radio, like I grew up with the radio. It was pretty prominent in my household growing up. Music was a big deal. But you know, I was one of those kids who had like the Fisher Price like microphone and like cassette tape and stuff.
Right.
But like I think I was even like recording things off of the radio as a little kid, like I don't know, like 7 years old or something, 6, 7 years old, just like recording stuff off the radio. So yeah, and I was definitely one of those nerds that would call in, like when I got older, like I would call into radio stations and stuff, and like I just liked hearing my voice on the air and talking to some of the DJs and stuff. But yeah, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's something I've always enjoyed.
That sounds so fun. Now, when you apply to jobs and they say how many years of experience you have, you can work like a lot.
You know what? Yeah, I'll just start saying, you know what, since I was about 7 years old. So just like count it from there.
Did you call to Kiss FM or perhaps Power 106?
Oh, God, you're putting me on the spot here. Yes, Kiss FM was one of the ones that I would call. Funny enough, I was definitely more of a K-Rock listener.
Right.
There was also another station that was here like in the early 2000s called Indie 103.1.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that was another one that I would call and just like request songs or just like find an excuse to talk to the DJ so I could get on the radio. Yeah, like not even because I wanted attention. I just liked hearing my voice on the radio.
You're like, I want to hear my voice.
I want to hear my voice. Yeah.
But now it's Jose 104.3 and Africa Girls, America.
Oh, Recuerdos or something like that.
My mom again used to grow up with that station. All right, now your third question. Sorry, your third question. I'm having tongue twist on my podcast.
It's all right.
And your question is what was like becoming production coordinator for LAist?
Oh my gosh. So I was there when LAist was still KPCC, right before I turned into LAist altogether. And I actually got hired out as, I started out as an intern. So through the program here at PCC, I was able to become an intern at KPCC. And they saw, I guess, how diligent I was and how responsible and how detail-oriented I was. And I got recommended for the production coordinator role. And so I basically went from starting out as an intern working part-time to a full-time production coordinator overseeing, I don't even know how many podcasts we had at the time. I think 3 or 4. So not a huge amount, I guess, to start, but like it was a pretty big job, just overseeing the production of a lot of these different shows. I was there for the revamp of Imperfect Paradise, which you can still listen to on 89.3 FM. Or if you visit LAist.com, you can also find that. But yeah, those were definitely great opportunities, and I found myself in the right place and being seen by the right people, and they had an opportunity for me, and I took it. So and I got to work with a lot of great people. I got to work on a lot of really good shows. The first show I worked on was K-Pop Dreaming, which is it was season 2 essentially of what's it called, California Love. And so that one was really cool. I knew nothing about K-pop, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about K-pop as well as Korean culture and the heavy influence that LA had on K-pop. But yeah, I got to work on a lot of really cool shows.
Wow, that's amazing. And how long did you work there?
I was there for about 2 years.
Oh, 2 years?
Yeah, about 2 years, but got a lot of work in those 2 years. There's like a laundry list of like podcasts that I got to work on while I was there. So yeah, it was fun.
Nice. Now you told me before we start recording that you used to work for KPCC, but when you were, your fourth question is, what was like working for KPCC?
Well, in general, I would say that it was one of the most welcoming environments that I've ever worked in. All the people there really care. I mean, like truly, I still know like everybody who works there, like except for like maybe some of the new hires. But there was just like all the people that were just so kind and also really generous with their knowledge and their time. Like I remember when I started there were so many people who like made it a point to like get coffee with me, talk to me, or like one of my kind of missions, I was very much in like networking mode when I started there as an intern. So I'm like, all right, let me just get to know everybody that I can, talk to everybody that I can, get to know what they do, and, just get to know them as people, but also as colleagues and coworkers, journalists, but also the folks that work in product. Shout out to my product design folks. But just so many like cool people, so kind, who really cared about our mission there too. So just one of the kindest, most welcoming environments I think I've ever worked in.
Yeah, it looks like it's a nice environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you been there? Have you kept in touch with any of your...
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, that's fun.
I still keep in regular touch with a lot of folks. And also, like, I've recommended people who are like friends or people who have come out of, like, again, the TVR program here at PCC, either for internships or like part-time jobs or on-call jobs at LAist. And so like it's weird. Like the line between like friends and colleagues is just kind of like, okay, a little blurry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still keep in pretty regular contact with a lot of the folks there. I do need to go visit them, but I've gone back like once because one of the podcasts I worked on and didn't get to be there for the launch of, they had like a gathering like of our subjects and stuff. So I was really excited about that. Actually, I'll plug it now. It's The Other Moonshot, which is a part of, LA Made. It's like season 3, I believe, of LA Made. But really good story about Downey, funny enough. Downey, which...
my area.
Yeah. Yeah, we have that Sella connection,
We do.
Southeast LA. We never called it Sella, by the way, when I was growing up. I don't know where that came from, but we don't call it that.
I would get Google each time, but maybe I don't hack it Google. And by the way, shout out to Downey Bell Gardens.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michelle.
Oh, no, it's okay. You guys continue.
Come on in, yeah.
Yeah.
Your co-host, feel free to ask me
Yes.
anything, yeah.
Okay, what is some advice you would want to give someone starting off?
Well, in radio or?
Yeah, in the radio program here.
I would say one of the things I suppose that I kind of not neglected, but I suppose I didn't realize how much of a role the visuals would become, or how important having context for like video production would have in audio production, especially if you're going into like the podcast realm. But we're seeing it a lot with radio, obviously. I really recommend that folks get like a good understanding of even just the basics of like video production, because a lot of these podcasts, a lot of these radio shows, they are bringing in that video element so they can throw their things up on like YouTube or like TikTok or like any of these like other very visual mediums to get attention.
Yeah, it's kind of like the fast fashion, right? Like, like just popping things out there.
Exactly. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, just learning the basics about audio recording, editing, and honestly, just even getting comfortable with your own voice. That was a big one for me. As much as I loved hearing my voice when I was like, again, calling radio stations as a teenager. As I got older, I'm just like, I don't want to hear my voice. I don't want to hear it. So it's just like getting comfortable with your own voice and also getting comfortable with the way you look on camera even, because it's going to happen eventually. Like people, you have to be seen, you have to be witnessed in order to become a part of the industry in whatever format you choose to participate in. So just getting comfortable with all of those things and learning the basics at the very minimum about, the industry that you're going into.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have
That's
a
a good-
very soothing voice. Sorry. You have a very
I don't
soothing
think so,
voice, by the way.
Thank you. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I have several people I know who would disagree with that. But thank you. I appreciate that.
By the way, I was going to say, we should go keep in touch with Doug Johnson. Am I correct, Michelle? The one we
Doug
saw?
Johnson.
Doug Johnson.
The one we
Professor
saw at
Johnson.
KPCC?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We went to tour KPCC recently.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't talked to him in a bit. I think it's been not quite a year, but he was actually instrumental, honestly, in me being able to get even the internship over at PCC, or at LAist rather. I would check in with him kind of regularly and talk to him about like different people who I knew from the radio program and stuff. But yeah, he's a great professor. he recently retired from PCC as an instructor, so now he's over at LAist full time now. Or I mean, he already was, but yeah, he started out here, I think in the 80s. And I always like to tell people like, yeah, like this radio program is a part of like the program that like he used to instruct some of the members of Van Halen, the band, also Pasadena locals.
Right.
He instructed several of those guys in our radio program.
Didn't know that.
Which, yeah, it's really cool. So I think most of them were already musicians, but I just always thought that was like really cool. So he actually got to teach a couple of those band members. So I was just like, oh my God, like this is so wild. But yeah, he's a really cool person. Very, very awesome about like trying to get more students into actual radio production and podcast production.
Nice. And now my favorite question is, since you used to work for KPCC, but when you were there, tell us what did you do for KPCC?
Well, so I started out as an intern, and when I was interning, that's when I was working on that K-pop show. So I would mostly, honestly, like they had me working like with transcription type things or helping just take notes, which is something some students might end up doing. If you're working on a podcast or a radio show, maybe helping out with transcription, or the producer I was working under was actually really generous and would even let me choose the takes. So like we would have, for example, like our host and narrator, she would be saying something and, you know, it's like, okay, like that got flubbed. Let's say it again. And so she would let me choose, okay, which one sounded the best to you? And then helping out with some audio assembly as well. So that's mostly what I did as an intern, some research. But yeah, it, you know, the internship type stuff, it varies what you'll end up doing, and it just depending on the needs of wherever you're at.
That's good. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what was one of the most memorable tasks that you've done as an intern?
As an intern, memorable task. Honestly, I don't know. Just being able to, again, like being allowed to choose takes is honestly a big deal. Like that's something that usually is left up to like a producer or an executive producer, and you know, having the feeling that, okay, this person who's very seasoned and experienced trusts me. Yeah. Trust my ear to choose the take that sounds the best to me as a listener. You know, I really valued that as an experience. And I was like, so yeah, I felt very kind of honored. I'm like, oh, wow, like you're letting me do something that it would normally take people years and years and years of experience before you're able to do it.
Oh, yeah, that
makes
really
sense.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long were you an intern for?
I think I was only an intern for about like 6 months before I got hired out as a production coordinator. They're like, "Oh, you're tenacious. All right, let's give you more work." Okay. David, are you laughing? Because is that something that people have said about you?
Yes. When I was a little kid, you know what? I think we need hand you guys water.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I like to treat my guests.
Oh,
with
thank you
water.
so much, David. I appreciate that.
Thank
Cool,
you,
thank
David.
you.
Because I feel like we're doing
a lot of talking.
Yeah, we are.
Delicious water.
I got it from my home.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, now your sixth question, James.
Okay.
How did you become a fan of Chalino Sanchez and his music?
How did I become a fan of Chalino Sanchez? Well, I would argue that being born raised in Southgate, I grew up, interestingly enough, with my cousin who was a couple years older than me, who he actually was a DJ.
Right.
But he would listen to Chalino pretty regularly. And so I grew up with listening to him. But I also grew up with stories about Chalino. And I grew up erroneously thinking, this was the story I was told as a kid, that he was actually killed in Southgate. He was not killed in Southgate. I don't think it was Southgate. I can't remember what city it was in. But he did play a couple of shows at a couple of places in Southgate. But I grew up thinking, oh my gosh, like, oh, this like big, like, you know, Mexican corrido singer, like, was murdered here in Southgate. It's like, no, it didn't happen there. I'd have to look it up exactly where it was. But I grew up with that, like, oh my gosh, like that made our town kind of notorious to me. And I'm just like, oh, wow. Okay. Like that put it on the map for me. But I don't know, like when I think of him and his music, it really takes me back to like my childhood, and it makes me think about my cousins and honestly some of my uncles, even though they were not into any of those things that Chalino was into, fortunately, as far as I know. And even if I did know better, I wouldn't say anything about it. But yeah, you know, like just that tone of voice, honestly, like just really reminds me of like the kind of music that was played around me as a kid.
Yeah, he's a really good singer. It's a very comforting.
Yeah, yeah. Like some people think, oh, like it's like kind of shrill, but not to me. Like again, I grew up with like banda music and all kinds of different like
corridos and stuff.
Yeah, like all kinds of different music. But yeah, his music, like yeah, it reminds me more specifically about like my cousin and some of my uncles. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't working. I always tell my guy, guys, hi. I screwed. I apologize, everyone.
It's okay. Practice it.
I'll practice. Wait, my God.
Practice your grito. Yeah.
I will practice my grito. Hi. All right. Anywho, enough of that. Let's see. Question number 7. James, what is your favorite Chinese song?
Damn. Okay. Probably so basic, but I think it's Las Nieves de Enero.
Sí.
Yeah, basically like the God, like I'm trying to translate in my head right now. What the heck is the translation of that? Like the snows. No, Google. No, the January snow or something. Basically, is like the translation. But basically, it's like this sad song. All these freaking songs are sad though, or like aggressive. But that one I think is about like him being in love with a woman that like either doesn't love him back or I don't know, just like unrequited love. It's like, freaking heartbreaking. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. For someone who doesn't listen, do you recommend that song, or is there a different song you recommend?
I would say maybe start with that one because that's probably his most recognizable song. That's why I'm like, I'm reluctant to say because it's like the most basic one. But yeah, no, it's probably my favorite song of his. Yeah. I don't know. I like heartbreaking stuff. It's so bad. It's so bad.
And I got to ask you a question. When he was assassinated, I believe it was 1992, if I'm not mistaken, what was your reaction?
I wasn't alive, dude. When I think it was 82, but yeah, I he was already dead by the time I was born. So yeah, like, but yeah, again, like I grew up listening to him, but also like whenever I would hear it, like again, my cousin would let me know, like, oh yeah, he's been dead for a while, but like his music still lives on, so we just listen. All
right, now your 8th question, James. Tell us about Southgate, where you grew up.
Southgate, yes. Southgate is located in the southeastern part of Los Angeles, part of Greater Los Angeles. I actually did a little bit of research into Southgate just over the years, just because I wanted to learn about it as just a place. And apparently it was always kind of slated to be a place for like mostly like Mexican American people to live, but like people who are like middle or like working class to live in. It's essentially a suburb of LA that's not too far from downtown LA. Growing up there was kind of a mixed bag. I was very sheltered. I really was not let out of the backyard. Even in the area that I lived in, which was fairly quiet, like we still dealt with like, you know, gang activity and shootings and things like that. It was still kind of a rough neighborhood, but you know, like I don't know. I was very sheltered. I would stay at home a lot. I would hang out in my backyard, which was pretty sizable, which was nice. And you know, full of like all different kind of fruit trees and like I would say that part of my childhood at least was very idyllic. But I did grow up going to like Tweedy Mile back when there were still shops there. like bread shops, like panaderias. What else was there? Like video rental stores, like not Blockbuster. Like I'm talking about like individual, like mom and pop stores. Are we running low on time? Keep going. Okay, cool. See, timing in my head, and I also can't see the timer because it's unplugged right now. But yeah, it was interesting, and very different time, obviously, than it is now, and even this region here in Pasadena, very different place as far as like the type of vibe. Mostly grew up around like other Latino people, mostly Mexican people. So yeah, very kind of isolated in that way, but also I don't know, looking funny enough at Downey, like we were just talking about.
Yes.
Downey was always kind of this like ideal place to like live in, or like Whittier, even like visiting Whittier is just like, oh, these big fancy homes, and it's just like, it's like, you know, it's just funny because then you come to Pasadena and it's like you've got Millionaires Row right over there, like off of
Right.
Orange Grove, and it's like, sweetheart, like that's not where the rich folks live. That is not where the rich folks live. But yeah, it's just, again, perspective is everything. But yeah, I'm grateful that I got to grow up in Southgate, though. There was definitely a sense of community there, and yeah, I enjoyed living there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is one of your like favorite places I used to go back to visit? Or do you still live there, actually?
No.
Right? You live here.
No.
You live over here, right?
I live in the San Gabriel Valley now.
Okay.
But and I've lived kind of all over LA County, but excuse me, mostly like toward the east side of LA County. But I don't really go back to Southgate. I need to. I would say probably the place I enjoy visiting the most is the park.
Oh.
The Southgate Park was actually not very close to where it was, literally like clear across town. Like I grew up on the side of Southgate that was the closest to Watts, which is like near like the railroad tracks, like Alameda. So for people who know the area, they'll know where I'm talking about. But yeah, going to the park was always kind of a big deal. So going to the park, and then like on rainy days, my dad would always take my sister and I to the library, Leland, I believe it was called, library, which was also like off of Tweedy. So that's one place, honestly, I would like to go visit and see like how much that place has changed.
Yeah, that sounds like something you do need to do, right?
Yeah. Or
Has it
Maloney
been-
Meat Company. I wonder if they're still there. There was like a deli, like an Italian deli that was like right next to Southgate High School that we would go pretty regularly to get like fresh sliced like meats and cheeses and stuff. I haven't gone back there in forever.
Sounds like you had a really fun childhood, honestly.
Thanks.
I'm going to go back, go Southgate one day first. I'm going to find that place that you just said.
Maloney Meat Company.
Maloney
yeah.
Company.
Yeah, let me know. It was off of Firestone and State Street, I believe. Right next to the high school.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, are you really working? Because like when you're not working at KPCC or as a professor, but I just can ask you, tell us what you do for fun.
What is that? God, it's so bad. I'm such a workaholic. What do I do for fun? Funny enough, karaoke. I really like karaoke. I haven't done it in a while, but that's one thing I really enjoy. I like listening to podcasts. God, I'm so hard. Again, I like this is why I got into radio, because I love listening to stuff. Going to the beach, which again, things I don't do often, but like things that I really enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I love the beach too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like going to the beach and walking a lot. So
Yeah.
honestly, just walking to clear my head.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, David?
The last beach I went to was the second week of period, 2012, with my brother. When my parents went to Kansas to buy a truck, and then I told my brother, hey, let's go second week of period. And we did, and that was the last time I went to the beach, second week of period. Ever since, I never went back to the beach, which I think I need to start doing in summertime.
Yeah. Yeah, just check those
Water conditions.
the water
Yeah.
conditions.
It could
Yeah.
be dangerous. All right, now my last question for you, James, is where do you see yourself in the next couple of years besides radio?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Just kind of flowing with life at the moment. But I'd love to be able to maybe, I don't know, have my own podcast or series of podcasts. I actually do have a podcast that's coming out very soon that I'm working on here at PCC called After Eaten. It's a documentary that we're working on about the Eaton Canyon fire and the folks who, like faculty, students who were affected by the fire here. So I'm pretty proud of it. We're, again, still working on it, but it'll be coming out soon, hopefully within the next 2 or 3 months.
Maybe me and Michelle could come on your podcast.
Yeah. If you guys were affected by it, yeah, sure. If not, we can always find another podcast to have you guys co-host or come and guest on.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And how do you call it? Just a quick question, because speaking of fires, they're gonna host the Olympics here. Yeah. What are your thoughts on them hosting the Olympics here?
My personal opinion is we should not have the Olympics in LA in general, even before the fires. But that's a longer question for a whole other podcast. But it looks like they're booting us out of the studio here, so we should probably wrap it up.
All right. But I was going to say one quick thing. Is there any announcements you want to announce here, exclusively on Gary's podcast?
Just keep an eye out or an ear out for After Eaten, the documentary that PCC is producing about the Eaton Canyon fires.
By the way, you were going to ask me about the food. I don't know if we have time to get that food question. Especially, my favorite breakfast. I'll say this real quick. My favorite breakfast is burritos and sometimes guacanitos.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sounds great.
All right. That will do it for this 10th episode of Gary's podcast. Jens, I want to thank you for being my guest. And Michelle, congrats to you on becoming my co-host. And I guess sorry, Michelle, I'm going to cut you off.
Oh, no, saying thank you. Thank you so much, David.
You're welcome. And that will do it for me, everyone. And thank you for watching and listening to Gary's podcast. And we will talk to you next week for the 11th episode. Which I can't believe this podcast is going quick. It's like a time machine. All right, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. And we'll talk to you we'll see you next week.